Hi, it's Marina here. How many of you have spoken to a friend or a confidant or it's just somebody about your narcissistic parent, your narcissistic sibling, somebody in your family that's narcissistic, and you're pouring out your heart and the behavior from them has been absolutely appalling, like really, really bad. And they listen, and then they'll say to you, oh, but it's your mum. Oh, but it's your dad. Oh, but they're your parents. Oh, but it's your sister. Oh, but it's your brother. Oh, but it's your auntie. Oh, but it's your whoever it is, as if that should be the most important thing, that you should take bad behavior consistently for the rest of your life because you are connected through blood. I don't care who that person is, they earn the right to be in your inner circle. It has nothing to do with blood and everything to do with how they treat you. So don't ever feel shamed or blamed or guilty that you're feeling the way you're feeling, right? Your feelings are right. The way that you feel, the way that how you feel is right. Always validate how you feel. I'm right for me. They're right for them and their level of consciousness. I'm right for me. That means you're right for you. And so when you tell a really well-meaning person, and they might say things to you like, oh, see if you can, in your heart, but you love them, don't you? But you love them, don't you? And, they are your mom, they are your dad, and you should forgive them and you should let go and you should just let bygones be bygones. And look, it's been a few years now, and don't you want to have an amazing relationship with them? And don't you feel like, things will get better? And they're saying all these things. They're not awake to what narcissistic abuse is. And they may well be having narcissistic abuse in their own life, and they're not even aware of it, which is why they're saying things to you that would be appropriate for a healthy, normal relationship. But here's the thing with narcissistic families, and this could be a narcissistic boss, it could be anything, but I see it a lot. The guilt trip from well-meaning people comes with families, because if you were to share the same thing about your boss, what would they say? Oh, just leave the job. That sounds terrible. You should leave. Yet when it's the same issue with a family member, the guilt trip is, oh, but for what? For what? What are you really honoring? Because there is no relationship. If somebody sees fit to abuse you every time you talk to them and leaves you feeling worse, what is there in the relationship? Because in a healthy relationship, the intent is, I love you, you love me. If there is an issue, we've got the same intent. We want the relationship to get closer and come together. In a narcissistic relationship, your intent and their intent is completely different. Your intent is for the relationship. You might have found yourself constantly trying to make the relationship better, seeing if you can find another way, right? You might be, I'm just seeing if I can find another way to make them see. I want to make them see, right? And so you're trying to explain it more. You're trying to bring them into your world. You are over-explaining yourself. And it takes a lot of effort. It's exhausting. Your intent is to make the relationship better, but their intent isn't. Their intent is for you to feed them. It's a completely different intent. Their intent is to take your energy. Their intent is to blame you and make you wrong, right? Because they are so emotionally, I don't even know what the word is, right? It will come to me in a minute, but they're so emotionally like fragile. Like, that's right. That's what I wanted to say. Like their ego, they have such a fragile ego. It's all about them and it's definitely not about you. So when I'm speaking to people that are being shamed and blamed by well-meaning people who don't get it, don't go to those people. Because if you've been trying to get the narcissist to see, and you're trying to get people who are not awake to narcissistic abuse see, they're not going to see. They're not going to get it. It's only people that genuinely have had narcissistic abuse that will really, really get it, because it's like nothing else. So if somebody is telling you, just forgive them, right? Just whatever. What they're really saying is, just take the abuse one more time to keep the relationship. And even if you're the only person in your life, in the room, that feels absolute horror, absolute anxiety, absolutely feels sick, absolute, like just so nervous and scared at that thought, trust that. Because how you actually feel is trying to keep you safe. And when you ignore it and you're going outwards to people that are not aware of what narcissistic abuse is, and you're trying to get validation, it's only going to make it worse. It's not going to help you. Best thing you can do is speak to people who have either had narc abuse, or they're trained in it, or they understand it. But even then, it can be very difficult to convey the tone of voice that the person had, like the parent had, for example, and the history of all the things behind it that you know means X. And you might find that when you try and describe it, it doesn't come out right. And then you forget lots of things. And then you go, oh God, why is it that I'm only clear when I'm on my own, but I'm not clear when I'm actually talking to them? And I kind of feel like I fluffed it and I sounded almost like I was the perpetrator. That's because you're not necessarily used to really advocating for yourself, and you're used to having to defend rather than just speak from your truth. Because when we're around a lot of narcissists, right, we're always having to live on defense. So my point being, you don't need anybody's validation to tell you what is and what is not okay for you. Only you know if your body can take it. And your mind might be telling you, that's okay, I'll see them again. That's okay, I'll go and see them, I'll go and help, I'll go walk the dog with them, or, I'll whatever. Your mind might do that. But if you drop into your body and you ask yourself, body, can you take another round? Because it's like being in a boxing ring. How does your body even feel at the thought of seeing them again? Right? If you tighten up, if you're really nervous, if your back starts to hurt, if your stomach starts to churn, if your chest goes really tight, if your throat kind of closes up, if you feel yourself almost kind of go smaller, your body is telling you how you really feel. And it's not about, I've got to be stronger, I've got to be tougher, I'm going to try and make them see. It's not, well, they're family. It's actually like, somebody like you has probably tried all the ways. And at some point, when you finally admit to yourself that your intent and their intent for the relationship are completely different, you can start to listen to your body instead of what they're saying, and what they're saying, and what they're saying is right for you. Because no one's in your body having that experience. Nobody's in your body having had the history all the way through. No one knows what it feels like to be you walking away from these situations, absolutely smashed, absolutely comatose, absolutely just devoid of any feeling, numbness, exhaustion, feeling just like you've been obliterated inside. Nobody knows what that's like, how much it takes out of your life, how much it stops you from doing life, from being successful, from being at peace, from being relaxed, from actually creating your dreams regularly. No one knows the cost of it, the price of it, the energy that leaks out of you, even just thinking about it, but you. So the next time somebody says to you, oh, but it's your mom, won't you forgive her? you can say to them, no, for the first time in my life, it's not about them. It's actually about me and me living the best life I'm going to live. And that's what I'm doing. And that's it. That's really just it. You don't need to say yes to anything that will hurt you. Because in my experience with my clients and the people I speak to, all that occurs is more and more and more of it. And you don't owe anybody anything. I don't care who they are, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, whomever, you don't owe them anything. If you've had a lifetime of abuse, it can stop right now. And those beautiful, well-meaning people, you can hang out with them, have fun with them, but don't tell them what's going on. Find your people. And in that way, you'll no longer have these abusive conversations. Because in my experience with my clients and what have you, sometimes those conversations can be just as abusive without the person even realizing that they're doing it, because then you've got to clear and heal that as well. And any guilt that you feel that comes up, and any invalidation that comes up, and any kind of self-doubt that comes up, and almost that gaslighting within you where you're like, well, maybe I should go back. No, you get to say no to what hurts you. End of, right? Because you're too beautiful. You've got an amazing life. You're here for a reason. You've got an amazing life's purpose. You're not meant to be going back to wherever your energy leaves you. You're meant to be keeping your energy and building your energy and choosing now what is going to be life-giving rather than life-taking, because you're so important. You're that important. And this is your time to absolutely rise. Hope this really supports you. All my love.